Hello and welcome to your tutorial on how to use your software. So first, when you get the software, you're gonna download it, and then this is what pops up. Once you save it, and then you open it up, you have your username and password. So I'm just gonna log in quickly and then get straight to it. Um, Once you click on OK, after putting in your login, it spins for about 7 to 9 seconds, and then it's ready to go. In here, I'll show you how you put in your inventory, from petroleum products that are deposited in the underground tanks to the different pumps, and how you record your sales from the meter reading to how that is selected, okay? So first and foremost, you go to homepage, and then you click on products or services. So when you click on products or services, this is the page you come to. When you scroll to the right, to the extreme right, you're going to see list of services or products. Please, I've listed PMS, AGO, kerosene. You can replace them if this is not how you want it to be seen, maybe petrol, diesel, or kerosene, if you prefer it that way. I just used this for the example. I'm assuming, probably you have tank 1, tank 2, tank 3, maybe 3 tanks. It could be 4 tanks. Please add the 4th one if you have as many tanks. Again, so this is how you enter products that have been bought or received. Loaded in the underground tank. So let's say on January 1, 2023, you got petrol, which is PMS. Make sure you scroll to the top here, right? Pick PMS, and then let's say you bought 33,000 liters and you got it at 250 naira, okay? Now here, if you bought it on cash, which means you paid instantly, you want to click on cash. If it is on credit, you want it to be credit. So then the next step is to, like I said, either cash or credit. So let's say you paid on cash. And then the next thing is to come here and try to pick what tank. Let's assume you bought into tank 1, and then, you can decide to put in the selling price. Let's say you want to sell this for, who knows, maybe 300 naira per liter. Now, if you have a supplier, let's say, I don't know, let's say corn oil is your supplier, you may want to put it there or not. And that's it. You've entered that in there, right? Again, let's say on January 1, again, you got PMS, right? Into, let's say you got 11,000 now, and you got this one for 252 naira. And let's say you bought it on credit this time, and then it's got into tank 2, right? And you want to also sell it for 300 naira, okay? So let's say you got that from, I don't know, whatever supplier. That may not be too important, right? So now let's return to guidance. So we've recorded 2 products delivery, right? Into tank 1 and tank 2. So let's go to guidance and go to sales. So in sales, for example, so I'm going to take all of these examples of testing out, and then we are going to start with, and then I'm going to do the test of what is it called? How we are going to record the sale. Okay, so I'm going to take this all out. What I did here, was to pretty much say, because you could be changing the selling amount as you go, I decided to leave that as is. But just okay. Now let's assume you want to record a sale. Let's say today is January 2nd, and then you want to sell. Please note that when you click on the drop down, you have the unique ID to identify each load that was, uh, delivered in the tank. So you see, the one that says number one is the first one. Tank one PMS was delivered January 1, 2023 at 250 naira per liter and a total of 33,000 liters. It's there. So let's say it's tank one, right? Once you click on that, this will automate. Tank one will show up, the quantity will show up, right? The cost that you bought it will show up here automatically. Now, in the pump, you have to number your pumps, right? So let's say you have 4 pumps or more. If you have more pumps, I'll show you where you can enter your pumps. Let's say it's pump one, for example, and I click on pump one. Now, every pump has an opening reading and a closing reading. So let's assume the closing reading is 0, right? And then the closing is, let's say 5623, Technically, it's already telling you that it has calculated what you have. Now you need to put your selling amount. Remember that in the uh, list of products or services, we put a selling amount. But what I did here was to change to make this not automated, because you may change prices really quickly. So that you remember to input the selling amount. So let's say this was sold at 300 naira for this day, right? And obviously most of them were cash sales, right? My bad. Cash sales, right? So then, cool, that's it. So now I've recorded the first sale, right? If you want to check your inventory at this point, all you need to do is to return to guidance and click on Inventory Manager and do a refresh button. When you click on refresh, this shows all your products, the quantity you purchased, the total for the 4,000, the amount that you paid to get the product, the quantity sold. This is the amount sold. That's the quantity sold times the cost. And then this is what you have left in the tank, right? And this is your closing inventory amount. However, that is just the whole, this is the summary per product, right? If you want to check it by, on this side, if you just want to check, you can come here and you see almost the same thing here, like a quick summary. But this is where it gets interesting, right? Um, Under the products here, what we've done is to ensure that you can see what you have in each tank. So let's say tank one, you can see you got 33,000, and then this was sold. You can see tank two, nothing has been sold in tank two yet, right? So this is how you can always check to see the volume that you have left per tank, per product. And if you just want to do a quick drop down, just in case you have way more products than those three, right? So these are your summary. Remember, anytime you come here, you have to click on refresh button. So let's go back and go try a couple other scenarios. So let's say sales again. Let's go to sales. Now, if we were to go, okay, January 3rd, and say this time, let's say tank two is connected to pump three, right? Just assuming, depends. And the opening reading for pump three is 0. Let's simply just say 5,000, just trying to let's say 6325 is the opening. And then let's say the closing is for the day was 11,254. Now you can see it's already calculated. If you put the selling amount here and it's cash sales, obviously everything was sold on cash, hopefully. If it is a credit sale, you want to say, well, that's if you hardly have that. You just click no and this becomes yes, but But it's a cash sale. Now, again, you want to go to your inventory just to check. Just want to show you how that works. Click on refresh button, and you can now see that this has reduced. Now you can see that tank 2 is now reflecting what has been sold, right? Good. Now, one other thing that I would like to show you is if we go back to the sales, let's assume that, the pump, right, sold. Okay, before we do that, let's enter another uh load. Let's show that one of the tankers came and offloaded another PMS product. Let's say January 2nd. Let's just say PMS again. Offloaded another 33,000 in tank 1, right? Let's say 255, right? In tank 1, right? And then we can leave this obviously because you're still gonna put it in there. And let's say corner, we could leave that empty. Now, when you go back to your sales, let's now say, okay, pump pump 1, tank 1 on January 4th. I'm just making examples. Tank 1, right? Again, you can see pump 1. Let's say the closing reading is the opening reading for this day. Just for example, let's say it's 5623, right? And now this is where it gets interesting, right? So you can see that we have a maximum. We have a maximum of we have 27,377 left, right? That you can use. So let's say we put let's say we sold, let's go to 30,000. Let's say that went from 5,623 to 30,000. It is showing that we have 3,000 remaining, right? Let's put 300 here. I'll do one more example just so that we can pick up what I want to show. So now, when I pick this again, right, because we still know that it has 3,000 left, if I pick that pump 1, tank 1, and then I go, okay, what is my closing, my opening reading? Let's say it's 30,000, right? And then you can see it's telling me that my max closing reading must be 33,000, okay? Because if I have 3,000, I cannot, say that I've sold, 5,000 out of this because that is all that I have left. So let's try. Let me put 34,000 and see what it says. It's gonna come here and put the 4,000, but we would have, done ourselves a disservice, right? Because now that will be wrong. Let me take it out. You can see, always know that the max closing reading is what is telling you that this can go up to, okay? So if I put 33,000, this becomes 0 and everything is fine, right? Now, quantity remaining can never be negative, right? So, of course, I could make sure that, you can see quantity remaining when it goes to negative, but the reason why I put the max closing reading is for that to lead us. Once we put the closing reading, the max closing reading goes off. You don't see it anymore. So let me take it off. You can see the max closing reading is back. It's saying for this one, you can only go up to 33,000. Now, let's say you actually sold from 30,000 in the reading and the closing reading was 37,000. What you need to do is to come down to the second line and say, uh, what happened? PMS, 2nd January, 33,000, the same tank one. Let's say it's pump two now or whatever, but it's still coming from tank one. You want to come here and now say, okay, opening reading, let's say it's 33,000, right? And then look, you can see it's telling you the max closing reading is 66, but you know that this went up to 37 and you just want to record that other 4,000. You just put 37,000 here and you're good. So if you make sure you put your selling amount, then all of that works perfectly. And now you can see the quantity remaining. Okay. Hope that makes sense, because first and foremost, it tells you the serial number, what tank it is in, with the product, the date it was loaded, the cost you got it, and the volume. So that's how you pick your product, because this is the unique identifier. Now let's go see how that shows up on your income statement. So if you come on your income statement, I will say run income statement. Because this is 2022, you won't see anything. So once you click on 2023, everything shows up automatically. So you can see sales so far, 12.57 million, and the cost of sale is 3512. It is picking exactly the cost that it was bought for and bringing it into the income statement automatically. So that is pretty much how to use this. If you go into your inventory manager and click on refresh, everything refreshes again. You can see, you know, and we can try another product just for one more example. Let's say we went into start and then we did product to services and we got diesel, January 3, holiday geo, and then we got it for 33,000 as well, you know, the volume, and then we bought it at 820. Let's say that went into tank 3, and yeah, that's just gonna leave. If you bought it on credit, you always want to put a supplier so that you can uh track it when you make payment. So I'll show you how this will show up shortly, but let's just run through this AGO. So let's say this is AGO, and then you sold diesel. So you sold diesel January 6th. Once you come here, you're looking for tank 3 AGO, you click on it. That says what pump haven't we used? Pump 4, tank 3. Let's say opening reading is 0. And then we sold 1256. And we sold at 880 naira. Then next thing is return to guidance. We can run what is it called now? Inventory manager, and I click refresh. You see our AGO pops up, right? And then you see tank 3 now has volume, right? So so you can see AGO 33,000 this amount, and it's right here, tank 3. So that is how that works. Yeah, so hopefully this is helpful. Um and you know, you can track your inventory with this. Then if you want to run income statement, you can just go to home page and say run income statement again, and it has picked up the new sale, I believe. So 22,483. Pretty much to see. Yep. Yes. So I was talking about credit sales. So if you have credit sales, you want to go to your receivables agent, and hmm, this is pretty much where your credit sales will show up. Um, but one needs to put the customer name and all of that. However, if you don't sell on credit, that's fine. Also, if you buy on credits, you want to go on payable listing, and then you see who you owe. total. 1st January, you owe 2772, and it's telling you you have 17 days outstanding to pay. So let's say you paid on January 9, right? And you paid, let's say you paid just 2 million. It's going to show you what you have outstanding. When you hit refresh, it's going to show you that you're, this is what you owe to total, just for example. What else? So there's a lot else that happens, but you can actually see that in your, there's going to be another video link that you can watch. So let's say you have assets or your equipment, building, if you have a generator, obviously all those things, you can come here and say Jan 1, say I have Meccano generator, and then it costs 7 million, the same. And then you expect to use it for 5 years, you put that there, and then it starts depreciating automatically. Again, if you come to January 2nd and you put in what else? Let's say the pumps, and each one, let's say each one costs, let's say you have 4 pumps and each one costs you 2 million. The same. You can decide to put them separately, but let's say each one costs, I just did the math there, and then you expect to use it for 5 years too, then it automatically does the depreciation. Now, if you go to your income statement and you run it, you will see your expected that to show up. Let's go check what dates did we put there so that we know for sure what's going on. Assets. So 2nd January. Oh yeah, so we need to put asset type, my bad. Mechanical generator will be equipment. Pumps will be equipment. Then what else do we need to put? I think that's it, right? So let's see. Yeah, absolutely, it has popped up. You can see that equipment to 50,000 automatically, right? So what else? So if you put in capital in your business, yeah, let's say you've invested, you want to put 100 million of your personal money, right? You put it in there. That's where you put your capital. Any personal money you put it in for expenses. This is where you put it. Jan 1, let's say Jan 1, you paid to, accountants. Let's say you paid cash of 50,000, and then you want to do an account classification, maybe for, I don't know, maybe business fees or professional fees. You can do that, and you can always add uh expense classes here, but at least you can replace one with another one. If you don't do any of this sales of shares, you can change this to something else. Anyways, so once you put that in and you come to run income statement, you can see for yourself that you now have other expenses. Now, the good thing is that you can unhide this. You can click this button and you see where that money is, what account that belongs to, 50,000 professional fees, and you can always hide it so that it's not too long. Now, if I do return to guidance, what else haven't I talked about? Let's say prepayments, and you pay for insurance or you pay your rent. If you have rents, I'm just using Jan 1 most of the time. Let's say you have insurance because you've paid it maybe for the next 1 year. Let's say injury or fire, for example, I'm just saying. Then let's say you paid 2 million for 1 year. Once you put that in there, it's gonna automatically, and you run your income statement, it should be picked up automatically under prepayment, right? You can see that. So, that's how you use this. Oh, And obviously for payroll, you have payroll. This is at November, so you want to go to January and put your salary. Let's say I work for you and you pay me 80,000 a month. Once you put it there, you want to make sure the year is always clicked, right? So then you can put it there. And then if I go back and say run income statement, I can see the salary is already reflected. Okay, now one more thing to show. I think it's the balance sheet. If I show you the balance sheet obviously will show your cash in bank, right? So far, as I said, we put 100 million in capital, which means 100 million hit the bank, 100 million hit the capital, right? So your profits for the year will show up there. Your accounts payable, that's the amount we said you were owing to what's the name? Was it Total? Then your depreciation, this is your total equipment value, and so on and so forth. Your inventory value and all of that, your prepaid expenses. So if we return to guidance, I think that's almost it. You're gonna also get, a video that shows some of these things again, but I think this should cover most of everything. And if you have a loan, if you got a loan, let's say you got a loan of 20 million, hopefully because this is automated and it may be different from the loan schedule you get from the bank. Let's say the loan is a 35% loan. So, and then the period to pay back in years is actually, let's say 2 years. And the number of payments per year is 12. And it means scheduled number of payments really should be 24, right? So once you put that in, everything automates and it's getting picked up by, when you run income statement, you can see your interest expense. Every month, once it's February, it will show up automatically. March, it will show up automatically. So you wouldn't need to do it all the time. So that's pretty much it. I think that should cover it. So please watch the video. Let me know if everything is fine. And hopefully this makes sense to you and this can be used as much as you want. Thank you and hope to hear from you soon.